Welcome to the Loud Quiet. Ooh, empty nester. Okay. What does that mean?
Yeah, I think that actually probably is the theme of the empty nest. What are we doing? Let's do this. Let's do this thing. I don't know if I'm recording. Yeah. Okay.
Great. Sans children. Just us. We need a tissue box up here. Follow along on our journey and maybe, we can learn from others.
Yeah. I don't have a clue how to be empty nester.
This is the Loud Quiet Living the Empty Nest.
He is just straight.
Okay, well, we can start. All right, welcome back. This is episode 13, lucky number 13. We have a little visitor.
This was not planned.
No.
But,
well, the weather has changed. And
well, look at what we're wearing.
I know. As we've seen in the animals. So it has turned bitter cold.
Yeah.
And rainy here.
And I know we have listeners in the UK, and I know we have listeners in Czech Republic. So maybe for you, it's colder than it is for us, but this sucks for us.
Yes.
It is cold and nasty today.
We went into church. It was like 55. We came out. It was 43 and blustery wind. Yeah. And so, no, I'm not ready for that yet. I don't mind a little bit cooler, but no, we're not ready for this yet.
Sitting on the porch drinking an Oktoberfest with a little fire, kind of crisp. Ooh, that's nice.
Yes.
This, you may never see me outside until March.
Yeah. And that's what, yesterday rained the entire day pretty much. Finally let up a little bit late in the afternoon, but those days when we don't have them all in a row, we've had a lot of rain, but I don't mind those days because it gives us a chance to watch TV, which is what we're going to talk about today, which yesterday it was mostly sports on all day. Well, yes,
Saturday,
I don't think we watched
college football and World
it was
Series.
all, we are in the sports mecca right now because it's, college football, NFL, and we also have teams in the World Series, which, is hilarious that it ended up being Texas and Arizona. Yeah. Our child has actually been to one of the playoff games, and so, it is funny that is happening full circle, but
I refer to this as the most wonderful time of the year, but actually it's the second most wonderful. March Madness, but this is perhaps the second most wonderful time of the year.
Yes. Because, I know you enjoy the sports. I can watch if it's teams I'm interested in, then I will watch and participate, but I can't watch it all day long. So
you're a good sports spouse. You're not an obsessed one, but at least you're not an anti, and that's good.
But so today we thought we would just talk about what we're watching right now or what we, love to watch. I love TV. You know this.
I feel like it's a confessional. Hi, my name is Clancy, and I love TV.
I don't feel bad about it. I love TV. I have loved TV since I was a little girl. It's just, it is my enjoyment.
Right.
And I also like other things. I read. I'm not just like sitting in front of the boob tube all day, but I do enjoy TV. There's shows that I have been watching since I was little with my mom. My story that I still watch that, now.
And what show is that?
The Young and the Restless. And, Ashley's aunt, Sherry, and I, we Facebook message back and forth because she's like the only other person I know that watches it. And so we still talk about the characters and the kids every time they're home. They always come in and say, "Is Victor dead yet?" Because he's like the old man that's been on there forever. So yes, I do. I love TV. I love all kinds of TV. You were not as big of a TV person.
Not really.
Even early in our marriage and late, you're just not a huge. We had a couple of shows that we watched on network TV, but really, I think when the pandemic hit is when we all, and everyone probably got into binging shows and
Netflix
what's out there.
The roof
and what's out there. So we just thought that we'd talk a little bit about, what we're enjoying now. Some we're a little late to the game on, but that's all right.
And we'll have a high degree of variability in the quality of what we're talking about. This is not, we're not talking about necessarily these are going to be Emmy winners and things that are studied in film and TV classes later in life. Some.
Yeah, as I say, but a couple of them are.
Some may not be.
No, a couple, well, really only one. We'll get to that one last, but yeah. So.
What's first?
All right. First.
Sopranos. And we are extremely late to this. So we are not claiming, oh my gosh, folks, you wouldn't believe this new show that we just discovered called The Sopranos. This was one that has been widely regarded as sort of the introduction of quality TV. It was on HBO. It was something that was freed up because of the lack of restrictions around, yes, all the naughty things, the nudity, the violence, the cussing, and all that kind of stuff. But it allowed TV to have some of the grittiness and realism that movies had. And we'd heard about how wonderful this show was, and we just chose, well, oh no, I guess we didn't have HBO.
Well, yeah,
Maybe.
I was trying to think. Okay, I was trying to think. We got HBO Max, but we got it for a specific show that we wanted to watch.
It was the Friends reunion.
Wow, that's ironic. Okay, because we will talk about that later.
Teaser.
Yeah.
It was the Friends reunion is how we got HBO Max. We didn't have it before.
That's right. And then we were like, oh, well, what else is on here? And yeah, The Sopranos. And we're almost done. I think we have like 3 episodes left to complete the entire series.
And I know part of why I didn't want to watch it is I've also heard that the last episode is awful or ambiguous, or pick your adjective. I've heard people describe it in different ways. I didn't want to watch a show that went that direction, yet there's been plenty of shows that have had crappy endings, and so I guess we'll just have to accept that. But it's been such a good show up till this point, and I'm worried about the ending. It has been a brilliant thing to watch.
And I think now that, because we know not to have high expectations of the ending, we're probably going to watch it and be like, oh, that wasn't, And there have been some not so great episodes, and there's been some seasons that were a little, and this is something that my Ashley, that is my TV guru as well.
Episode 3, when was Ashley on our episode here?
Yeah, her and her husband. Yeah,
Ashley and Ward were on episode.
I mean, I bring her up almost every. I mean, she's my best friend, so we are together all the time. But we always say 3 seasons. Maybe 4. Once you've hit the 5th, there are shows that have done it.
Yeah.
But, get out while it's good. Some of them just keep going, and but this one actually, the last season has picked up a little bit and gotten better.
Has. That's one thing. A couple shows that we're not going to talk about in depth, though. Some shows, because of lessons, I think, that have been taught from Sopranos and others that have run out. Lost is an example of a show that, lost its way because the writers didn't have an arc at the beginning. Mm-hmm. I think shows like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul were designed from the beginning to have this multi-series arc, and it was a planned arc, and that's why that quality has found itself lasting all the way through those series that you may not have found in things like Sopranos.
And I think, like with Breaking Bad, you also have offshoots of shows like Better Call Saul that came out of that. And then there is one, isn't that a offshoot on Netflix? The one we haven't watched it yet. But
Lilyhammer? I don't know if it's technically an offshoot.
Yeah,
it
but
does have
with
one of the actors. It was the first ever Netflix promoted or produced show.
Okay.
So we'll watch it for that reason.
Yeah. But I do, the characters. This was just a really well done character development. It wasn't just one person. Everyone, kind of like the ones that are up here, played a significant role. And it is also fun when we see people like, oh, they're from blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They're from, shows that we've now seen.
Cooper Tires commercial guy is the one that just showed up. It's like, oh, I hated that guy. And now he's selling Cooper Tires.
Yeah.
Something you mentioned when we were talking about this that's been fun about this is how it was, I guess, in the late 90s, early aughts. And so references and things that are going on in there have been interesting for us to see.
Well, yeah, because like they had to take off because of 9/11,
right.
and then that came back up. I think one thing that helped this show, just it was also very well written and well done, like I said, but everyone is obsessed with mafia, mob.
Sure.
It's just such an interesting genre that, and all the references to them all going to Arizona after which is true. I mean,
In the witness protection
yeah,
program.
and we've eaten at restaurants down there that are,
Mafia adjacent.
named after some of the, yeah. So it is kind of an interesting tie. And, and then like we were watching the Hard Knocks season this season, and you hear, oh, that's a Sopranos song, which I don't know if I had watched Sopranos when it first came out. I don't know if I would have
remembered.
Because again, now that we can stream it, we watch the intro the first time, but then after that, skip intro, so you don't even hear the song, so.
Could that be the best TV invention ever? Is skip intro button? That may be the
No,
best.
when you could DVR and fast forward the commercials,
okay.
that's the best
All right,
one.
you win. That's right.
That is the best one, because anytime now that we have to watch something on, which it's probably now just sports, pretty much.
And Hulu, a show that we're going to talk about.
Oh, yeah, I know, because, yeah. But it kills me, because I'm just like, I've seen this commercial or heard it. I mean, I just get to where now I just mute them. I don't even pay attention, so yeah, so if you haven't seen The Sopranos, if you're one of the few people that hasn't seen Sopranos.
Hey, listener.
Yeah. Highly recommend.
Yeah.
It is a good one.
Yep.
So, all right.
What's next? Oh, good.
Yeah.
So we did talk about Hulu, right? Or just mentioned that. Only Murders in the Building I have found to be absolutely brilliant. This is, it's not... I forget who is the producer behind it.
They're all three.
They're both. They're all three the producers. The original. I think the writers. One of them is not either way. But you've got some brilliant talent there, and it reminds me on a humor level. Oh, I guess to set the stage, this is oddly enough, these three characters are living in the same building, and a murder occurs in their building, and they decide to create a podcast of all things to solve that murder in their building.
Yes, and it's Steve Martin, Martin Short, Selena Gomez.
Yes.
So, Steve Martin, Martin Short, we've, grown up seeing on SNL, all their funny movies, everything. Selena Gomez, we know from when the kids were younger and Disney stuff, but, or Nickelodeon, I can't remember which one she was on, but yeah, but these three would not, well, two would be together, but then throwing the Selena Gomez aspect in there. Yeah, it is really entertaining. And
from a comedy perspective, I find it's that same well-written that I believe Frasier got so much credit for. That yes, there are moments of stupid. There are moments of slapstick. It's Steve Martin,
well, yes.
Martin Short, for God's sake, right?
Yeah.
The writing, though, has an intelligence to it. And yes, because it's a murder mystery, there are gimmicks that are played throughout that lead you one direction, and then you find it's another direction. Of course, you know that going into it. The cameos that are in this, would you expect to see Sting in Only Murders in the Building?
I mean, again, though, when you're working with Steve Martin and Martin Short, I'm sure there are a list of people who have their agents calling, can I get on? Can I be on it this season? Can I, they are the epitome of comedy gods. And so, yes, of course you want to be on something that they are involved in and that is doing very well. So,
and I like even layers that they have. Tina Fey plays the character, and I don't remember her character's name, but she's the one that has the well-known podcast, and it's making fun of another podcast and just the podcast genre, true crime genre, and I can't think of the name of the one that it's clear that they're pointing to this specific person, and watching her play this, where her character seems like she's so interested in solving the murder, but really all she cares about is the likes, the downloads, and the interest in her show. Couldn't care less about the people that were actually murdered.
And it's fun seeing, there it's based in New York, and there's a Broadway element to it, and a retired actor. Yeah, it's really just we really have enjoyed this one from the beginning, and we just wrapped up season 3, and
Oh my gosh. I thought
yeah,
it was 2. You're right. That
no,
was
that
season
was
3.
3,
Yeah.
and they've already been signed for a season 4. This one, again, I would have been, I wouldn't
Uh-oh.
know, I would have been happy with them ending now. I do enjoy it. It's the same plot but you get different,
Yeah.
offshoots to the plot. But because I like all the people that are involved in it, it's just so well done. And I know they wouldn't want to put out anything that was not. And if they didn't feel like they could go another season,
They would just drop it.
they would be done with it. But
It even got me. Steve Martin is you're talking about their caliber. They wouldn't allow something. I just read one of his books. I know that's not what we're talking about here, but I read Shop Girl and I thought, my gosh, this guy can actually write. It's not a technically short story, but it's a shorter story. He can write. It was this beautiful, melancholy, beautiful tale in L.A. So yeah, I can see why this caliber is there, and I think part of why, going back to, I wasn't really much of a TV watcher. Well, that's because the kind of TV that I watched was Chips in the 70s and 80s, right? And Knight Rider. Those are the things that I loved. Well, there's actually real honest to God quality that's showing up. And that has been something, as we talk about being empty nesters, yes, it's kind of passive, but it's not. We talk about it. We engage in
yeah.
it. This is something that's allowed us to connect.
And we like this one too because it's 30 minutes.
Yeah.
They're short. You're not having to invest a whole, when we get home from our church group on Tuesday night, oh, we have, we can watch one of these, bang one of these out before we go to bed, So it's nice to have the dramas and with the sitcoms that, I don't think we've watched a sitcom on network TV in, I couldn't tell you how long.
Oh,
So,
I'd have to, we'd have to actually pause right now and
and
let my
and
brain.
I know there are some out there, and if listeners, if y'all have shows that you've enjoyed that you found, let us know because we're always looking to
Yeah, we're game for
fill
a new
the
one.
pipeline. So
I'll spend some, it's going to come up about 10 minutes from now, but yeah, Only Murders in the Building.
yeah, really good show on Hulu. So
Commercials for us.
I know.
Hey, it gives you a chance to get a drink. Go to the bathroom.
All right, this one.
I love this one.
I know. This one's on FX. And I don't even remember who told us about this.
Oh, I found out about it on the ticket.
Oh, that's right. Yes, you heard it on
So
the ticket.
on the sports radio, entertainment radio that I listen to here
Yeah.
in Dallas, the guys were just raving about what we do in the shadows.
Yes. So
Now, can we do one thing though? This is not safe for work. If you have any sensitivities, this one is not one that you really. It has its raunch. It has its.
what do you mean safe for work? Oh, like if people are watching at work?
I
Or
meant
what do you-
more. I just as a category.
Oh,
As
okay.
if you're a little bit sensitive to things, this one may not be for you.
Yes. As The Sopranos.
Well, that's
Is
true.
a
I guess we
little-
talked about
yeah,
all this. That fits
but
all these categories.
What we do in Murders in the Bill, that one is good.
Highbrow.
There's a little bit of language if that's sensitive to you, but yeah, this one, I mean, there's probably not a lot of, I mean, I don't know. I know people that watch this, and when they do, and when we suggest it to someone and they watch it, they're like, oh my gosh, it's hilarious. So yeah.
what is this? What are we looking at here?
So yeah, so it's 4 vampires who live on Staten Island. And it's
You could stop the sentence
I know,
there.
yeah.
4 vampires
Yeah.
that live on Staten
And
Island.
and they didn't in this one they don't have the familiar Guillermo in there. So it's set modern day, but they still live like, I mean, they're
The Renaissance period, maybe
thousands of years
yeah.
old.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, I mean,
It's a comedy.
there's not an episode that we don't just die.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, I don't even know how to talk about it. And there is a movie that actually came out before the series, which we still have not watched the movie because I think that's what the ticket guys were talking about was the movie.
I don't recall
But,
either way.
but I mean, it's just, what would you?
Try to imagine. So they're vampires. So clearly they are they're feasting on humans and all of
There's a
that.
lot of blood, yes.
And they have to live their lives. The house needs maintenance. And what is that like? One of the vampires has a twist called an energy vampire.
Oh, yes.
So he doesn't feed off of human blood, he feeds off of their energy. And so imagine the worst, most boring coworker that you could ever have. And that's how he drains people's energy, by going to offices and just boring them to tears, and they just crumple over and die. And so I think a lot of us have actually worked with energy vampires.
Or had family members that are in it. I mean, we this has come into our vocabulary, and not just between us, but between other people that we know watch this. I mean, yeah, you can call it when they are one. Oh, energy vampire, energy vampire. I mean, or we just call him Colin Robinson is in the room.
So the other vampires, a lot of the humor comes from, most humor is in the juxtaposition. Kind of, let me use Frasier again as a reference. A lot of the humor at times would be putting Frasier and Niles in blue collar situations. They're so uppity blue collar. Well, imagine putting a vampire who has lived for thousands of years, but still almost mentally and culturally is living in the 1300s, the 1400s, 1500s. At the Staten Island Mall.
Yes. And they can't eat because they don't eat real food, but they have to order to
And kind of
still look
pretend
like
that they're eating food. They're not allowed to enter a building unless they're invited in, so they have to be invited in. I can already tell we're not doing it quite justice, because
No,
it is
but,
so
I
over
mean,
the top bonkers.
And again, just so well written.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just, I mean, I just smile thinking about it, because the show, it just cracks me up. Like, I mean, like this season, they had to go to an urgent care, and it is really, really good. It's on FX, but it's also on Hulu.
Right.
So,
And it's done.
yeah,
It is wrapped and over.
That's right.
That
It
was
finished.
It
That's
is
right.
a
It did
concluded
finish.
show. So
And that one, I was actually sad, because it had been on what,
3 seasons, I think.
yeah.
But that hits your number.
I know, but they could have. I think they could have done one more, but it did. It ended. Well, it ended, but they could still bring it back if they wanted to. But I'm just thinking of like their old overlord, that guy like that gets fried by the sun, and he comes back.
Well,
I mean,
Guillermo
it's just,
is their familiar. Yeah. Well, he comes from a family lineage that is predisposed to kill vampires, and so he's accidentally killing vampires without intending it. You know, he's got a stake in his hand, and he slips, and it throws and ends up piercing a vampire. So it's that kind of silliness that, I don't know that we can describe it.
No, it's just, and they live in a regular, I mean, like, they're friends with their neighbor. And
who is a classic, I would keep wanting to say Jersey, but he's a classic Staten Island kind of guy.
Yeah.
Did they run? No, I think they went to a city council meeting or something.
Oh,
I may be mixing.
Oh, well, yeah, because Colin Robinson was running for city council.
That's right. So imagine, where are your energy vampires? They're on city council. So.
I mean, yeah, that one we love. So, all right. So the next one is one that I would have recommended in the pandemic, because that's when we started it.
Concept is really intriguing.
But they have jumped the shark big time. Like it should have been done.
Let's reveal.
So this is Manifest, which we now refer to as Crapafest.
It is so, and it is the concept good. And do you want to describe the concept, or shall I describe the concept? Good luck.
So I know it's kind of hard to. So these people are on a plane coming back from their vacation, and the plane basically disappears.
They don't know that.
Right. The people on the plane don't know that it has disappeared.
They fly through a thunderstorm and land in New York.
So, like, when they come back, they haven't aged or changed, but the people around them have. So, like, one set is twins. Well, the twin came home with the mom on a different flight, so she's aged 5 years, and her brother is still the same age that he was before. And then, I mean, it just opened up this
Yeah.
whole can of they're seen as people are scared of them because they don't understand how this could have happened.
Because that's it. They disappeared for 5 years.
Yeah, it's just
They didn't know it,
right.
but they disappeared.
Yeah.
And they're called the A28ers. And this show now has layered in elements of the supernatural, elements of the crazy physical, the biological. This show has brought in layers of
terrorism,
political conflict, left and right. Each episode on a show that should have wrapped itself to a conclusion 3 years ago introduces a new arc.
Oh, yes. And and I think we're in the last, we haven't made it through the last season, if this is it. But yeah, they're introducing new plot lines, and I'm like, no. We haven't even wrapped up the ones that we started with. The acting is horrible.
The writing is bad. Why?
I mean, why do we watch that? I know. Well, because when we started it, the first season was actually, like we said, interesting concept, and but this has become the show that we're like, but we have to finish because we started it and we have to finish. And I'm sure when we finish, we're going to be like, oh gosh, why did we finish? But we have to finish.
And there's elements, I have to imagine that everyone involved knows. There's a part of me that believes that they're doing this ironically. Even the bad musical montages that they'll throw in for no reason in an episode, or one of the 828ers, as they're called, because their flight number was 828. She had a relationship with another person who was getting callings. That's a part. They get callings to go solve crimes. Yeah. And he wasn't an 828er, but he gets callings. Well, now he's dead, but now he comes back to life. And basically, it's like
it's
Grease,
horrible. Yes,
where she's glowing.
It is Earth Angel
glowing.
from. I mean, yeah, it's horrible. That whole scene.
So we recommend.
It looks like and I only know this now because we didn't watch Teletubbies and our kids didn't watch it, but it looks like the sun, that sun baby that's in the Teletubbies, because he has this and it's done so badly that, I mean, and now anytime Rick's like, all right, manifest, I'm like, ugh, and again, why are we doing it? Because we have to finish it. And again, this better be the end of it, because
I know it's going to end badly. I got a similar show that I watched, just me, was Under the Dome, a Stephen King influenced one. Really intriguing concept. Great series. Season 1 ended with a great cliffhanger. And then it was clear they didn't know how to land the plane, and they didn't land the plane. So, and I'm not trying to be cheeky with that. As I see this plane that needed to land, A28 needs to end. Manifest,
yeah, so. I know it does. So, so that's what
we're watching
now. But 2 shows that I'm sure a lot of our audience
this is smack dab in the audience range,
and we still watch. We used to watch every night until I put the kibosh on having the TV on before we went to bed. So, but we still do on the weekends. We'll still turn it on. And we would kill at trivia for both of these shows. But the first is Seinfeld, which, I mean, to this day, there's now first season, not so great.
And they acknowledge it too.
And they do, yes. But there is not an episode of that show that I just would say, oh, this one, it's just.
And the references still apply today.
Oh, yes.
And what is interesting is I didn't realize how awful they were. I just enjoyed the entertainment.
As people?
I just found them funny. Of course, as I've gotten older and I continue to watch it, these are just horrible people. Just bad people. And it's so much, okay, cat's going crazy. So much fun. But even just in this episode, we introduced what could have been a Seinfeld reference. Elaine's attempt to get her punch card for the bad subs.
Oh,
That's how Manifest
yeah.
is. We are trying to get our
I
10th
want my
punch.
free sub.
We just want the free sub. No, you leave the bad movie. Oh, no, you suffer through it to see the end. So we are trying to get Elaine's free sub in that episode. I love.
I mean,
I'm
and
a
we
man.
do. We reference that show almost daily, probably. At least something. I mean, probably weekly for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But
There'll be a
just,
phrase.
yeah, it's just, and again, this is a show now that could never be on network TV.
I mean, they already the Puerto Rican Day Parade is
has
one that
been
they
pulled.
hid
Yes.
for a while. Now it's come back, but it's one that was hidden for a while. So there were elements of canceling Seinfeld even while it was going on. So yeah,
I mean, like you said, because they are just horrible people that make fun of, you know,
oh yeah, try to do Bubble Boy in today's world. The Moops.
the moves. Yeah.
I'm sorry,
I mean,
listener and viewer.
we could just riff
we're just going to
back and
giggle back and
forth.
forth and not actually say anything intelligent here. We're just going to do Seinfeld quotes. Oh, I mentioned the best.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's so.
Seriously,
It
I'm
is
doing
because
quotes in my head.
I know, but we got to stop because that could take up way too much time in this episode.
You yada yada
but-
the best part.
Yeah. So, okay. So, yeah. So,
And
if you have not been on the Seinfeld train, I would just start with season 1. But if you
Push
can't get
through.
it, yes, just keep going because it is just some of the most glorious TV and writing, and the acting is superb. I mean, everything about it is just, we love it.
And it is. It's another one of those things that we do together that this show is. I don't want to add it up, but it's decades old, and yet it's still meaningful for
Yeah.
us, and it's something
Oh,
that
yeah.
we enjoy and laugh
I mean,
about together.
I was watching Seinfeld when I was delivering Teagan, or like right before. That's what was on the TV. I mean, if that tells you
Do you remember which
anything.
episode?
No.
Okay, man, that'd be fascinating.
No, that I do not. I do remember, though, watching it in our Houston bedroom when I was pregnant with Tanner. And that's when we had to watch commercials. And that stupid Sonic Frito Crunch Wrap commercial
was
would come
so
on.
good.
Because Seinfeld was on at like 10:30 at night after, you know. And it just made me, I still to this day cannot look at that when it comes back on. And you,
Love the Frito.
yeah, I just know it grosses me out. And that was always on in the Seinfeld. So, the other one, of course, is Friends, as we've already talked about. The reason we got HBO Max. And I mean, how it's just, it is a sad day yesterday when I found out that Matthew Perry had passed away.
Yeah.
I mean, Chandler, he was just a comic genius.
And seeing the tributes that are coming to him now, and we couldn't do justice, and it's not like we knew him, but we just so appreciated the comedy that Matthew Perry brought to that character. There was an earnestness to that character. There was a silliness to that character. There was a sweetness. Somehow just brought all of that. Matthew Perry, the human, tormented by demons
yeah.
that are well
Strong,
documented,
yeah.
and that's not for us to necessarily go down. I didn't know of those demons while watching the show. I just appreciated the humor that he brought to us, and that show overall has been just such a special delight for us. It is interesting how we'd planned to do this, and then to find of his passing yesterday.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that was our, I think back to, okay, college Thursday night was Beverly Hills, Melrose Place, and then you'd go out. For adulthood, college or Thursday night was Friends, Seinfeld, and an ER was on after that. But yes, we used to set our VCR, put Tanner in the tub while Friends was taping, and then that would be our Thursday night date night to
after he
watch
went to
Friends
bed.
after he went to bed.
What was our dinner?
We would have pizza. I think we already talked about that. We
would be
we
DiGiorno,
yeah,
and then,
or sometimes we'd order them, but yeah, that was our Thursday night. And again, I mean, I can just turn on Friends anytime, and it's just, just
Friends has saved me on a lot of, because it used to be on Cathay Pacific
oh
flights,
yeah,
and so I would watch hours
uh,
of Friends back before you had Netflix and the ability to binge. And we bought all the CD series or DVD series, and that. When you look back at it, that because it came out in '95, I think, if maybe plus or minus a year. But what it did come out is as you and I were exiting college, and we were young adults, and we were
yeah.
independently living young adults, then living young adults as a dating experience, and then as the characters get
Yeah.
married, like we
I
had,
was pregnant while Rachel was pregnant.
yeah,
So,
these
like Emma is
parallels.
the same age as Tanner. It's just, yeah. Yeah. It
These
did.
parallels of what that show did for us. And yes, it's just a delight for us to turn it on and laugh. And there are still quotes, of course, that we'll
Oh,
still do goodbye forever.
yes. I mean, oh, yeah. And we walk in the room and do this, which, if you can't see, is the
The fist
secret code that Ross and Rachel or Ross and Monica had because
instead
they
of
didn't
flipping
want
the
their
bird.
parents to know that they were saying, yeah. I mean, yeah, there's
So
just,
good.
and we've passed some of those things to our kids.
Yeah.
They've seen some of them. I feel like they will probably eventually watch and binge watch those shows too, but we'll say phrases that they know are from
Yeah.
Friends or Seinfeld. But yeah, I mean,
It's fun.
yeah, that one just is a good feel good,
Yeah.
and it's on HBO Max,
That's
and
right.
Seinfeld is on Netflix now. So
For now.
if you have,
Yeah.
yeah,
If you're listening to this in the future,
yeah,
well, who knows where
yeah.
it is, but that's where it
So.
is in 2023.
So yeah, so that's what we're watching now, and but like I said, we're coming to the end of Sopranos and wrapping up. I guess we've wrapped up the other two. We still have Manifest, but so yes. So if y'all have any suggestions of what you're watching that you're really liking, if we haven't already, or if I haven't, sometimes I've watched stuff that you're not necessarily interested in, and so I've
Yeah.
seen a lot of it. But yes,
Would love to
but
hear
yes, hit us
other-
up, Facebook, YouTube,
Anywhere you
you can
put comments.
comment. Yeah.
Drop it in
So.
and we'll get that.
So yeah, but so that's that. But then we're back. We do have a text of the week.
That's right, we do have
we were on
kids.
the road last week, which that was a fun. I liked that episode. That was fun to do in the car, and
I genuinely, and I've told you this, and I'll share it with the listener and the viewer, that I genuinely enjoyed watching that again while I was editing it and living those memories. That just like this TV story is a connectivity story, these memories are what I think are so important for helping cement yours and my security and relationship strength as we go through the empty nest. But we did visit a child.
yeah. Well, we visited both children
That's
last
true, yes.
time, so last weekend, but yes, but we do have a text of the week, and this one is from Teagan.
Something got real for somebody. So we got this text from Teagan. I have never worked on assignments for this long, and I finally feel like a college student.
Halfway through, she's already done midterms, but yes, halfway through the semester, she finally feels like a college student, having to really buckle down and do some.
The fun, the going out with friends, the football games. Nope. It was the worked this long on assignments, and that's great.
Yeah, she was working all day Saturday so she can prepare because her friend is coming out next weekend. So she wanted to get ahead of things. But yes, so good to see that she's, getting into she'd already had work, but I think a lot of stuff hit this
It did.
week and weekend, and they're trying to wrap everything up because they only have like
weeks left.
4 weeks left of classes, and then it's finals. So so she's doing her thing. Tanner was doing his thing this weekend, and so yeah.
It's a good way.
There you
Good
go.
way to wrap
Yeah.
that up. Well, Clancy, here it was. A fun, what are we watching? And reminiscing about TV shows. And
Lucky episode 13.
that it is. Episode 13 of The Loud Quiet,
Living the Empty Nest.